Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to bring you an update on the 1/6 scale John J. Rambo figure from First Blood, the first official 1/6 scale figure made by Sly Stallone's shop. It's tricky. I've done a few takes sitting here talking about this, but I'm debating with myself how involved to get with the kind of stuff I was seeing on Facebook because a lot of it was very trollish and disrespectful. Yeah, quite disheartening really. In the 16 years of me doing this, I've never seen anything like that before. It was just yeah, I think I know what's going on there. You know, there are other companies making First Blood figures and pre-orders have already been made, and I'm sure a lot of people were hoping that they could find fault with this. It's a shame it has to be like that, but you know, I'm not saying that's why everyone was leaving negative feedback on Facebook, in particular 1/6 Republic and a little bit on Six Scale Network. You need to kind of, you know, it's freedom of speech and everything, but when it just turns into an absolute troll fest, maybe remind people that they can be respectful. That's always an option. But yeah, they've listened to what you had to say. I will say a couple of the comments really got under my skin because it just shows the ignorance. Is the latest one? Why he looks so sad? Uh, I'll explain that to you now. This is John J. Rambo, who served in the Vietnam War, one of the most brutal and horrific wars ever. They're all brutal and horrific, but you know, Vietnam. I grew up in the 80s, so I saw pretty much every Vietnam film. I went for a stage where I just, you know, me and my friend used to watch all of them, but I had a rough idea of, you know, some of the horrible things that may have happened at, you know, during that war. But John J. Rambo served in that war, and he obviously lost many of his brothers in arms. And he finally came back to his home in America and was spat on and not wanted. You know, that's made very clear in the movie. But despite all that, when he gets home and he's heading to find his friend, and he says when he gets there that it was hard to find this place, but he's smiling and he looks kind of he just looks not happy, but he's smiling, you know. But that crumbles away when he's bluntly told that his friend is dead. You know, the friend he's traveled all that way to find is dead from cancer, which was caused by spraying of chemicals, I think, in Vietnam War. So you literally see his demeanor, his whole physicality just kind of crumble down and kind of shrink when he hears that. And he just kind of walks off broken and drops the photograph into the wooden pile, the log pile, and just walks in a direction. And I guess he just found himself on autopilot and happened to be heading towards that town, needed something to eat, and was told by the policeman or the sheriff, or the you know, the main cop in that town, that he was not wanted there. You know, I don't want you here. I'm going to drive you up. Where are you going? Portland, right? That's so many miles that way. You can get something to eat in, you know, another ridiculous amount of miles. He didn't care. You know, Stallone himself, who's the supervisor and director of this company, Sly Stallone's shop, he said it was very important to get the eyes to communicate deepness and sadness because that was the very meaning of the movie. And but also getting the beauty and the attitude. And I think they've done all of that. That's why I gave this figure a 10 out of 10 when I reviewed it. I think it's a masterpiece. Right out of the gate, delivering a really classy, accurate 1/6 scale John J. Rambo from the beginning of the whole series of films, the very first time we see him. And I think they nailed it. Those kind of comments, it just shows what you're dealing with. And that's not everyone, don't get me wrong. A lot of you were, you know, respectful and gave constructive criticism, and a lot of you were lovely, and you see what I see. It's difficult because you know I film everything on my phone. I don't have a professional camera. I prefer to use my phone. The big DSLRs with the lenses, they're so big and bulky and expensive, and the batteries need charging every 20 minutes or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I like using my phone because it's right there in my hand. I can do everything right there in the palm of my hand, and it fits in my pocket. And it's brilliant. Sly Stallone's shop, everyone involved has been keeping an eye on things, obviously, and they've said because quite a few people were mentioning that the around the eyelids was too pink on this figure. Now I really don't believe that's true. I've got him here in front of me, and I've got the light kind of pointed right at his face. Let me just move this a little bit for you. You know, I mean, bear in mind this is John J. Rambo, who probably doesn't sleep too well after all the nightmares he probably has about what he went through in Vietnam. Plus, he just found out his friend is dead. He's alone. And I don't think they are too pink at all. I think it does convey perfectly what it's meant to convey. You know, I'm not a bullshitter on my channel. I never have and I never will. I think they've done an amazing job of capturing the sadness and pain that this character was going through internally and showing externally, physically, you know. Now, they are going to go back, and because this is an early test of production, the one that I received here and the one that Justin from Justin's Collection is getting, or probably already has. You'll probably see that video soon, I'd imagine. But yeah, they are going to go back and see what needs to be done, if there is anything to be done around, you know, the eye situation. I personally think it's fine, but they are going to revise it before it's released. Now, the other thing that was mentioned a few times in the YouTube comments was how this knife that comes with Rambo should have been die-cast metal. Now, the people involved with making this piece, I'm familiar with their previous works, and they often do give die-cast accessories, and they're always incredible. And I was a little bit surprised when in the unboxing review that I filmed on the channel, when I first touched this and realized it was plastic. Obviously, a little part of my brain said, oh, it's not die-cast. But at the same time, I thought, well, in the movie, when he's wearing this outfit, the red shirt, the army jacket, he never actually holds this knife. It's the policeman, the cop, who, you know, tells him to put his hands on the car and spread them while he searches. And he pulls out the knife and says, what's this for? He says it's for hunting. But other than that, I'm never going to pose him holding the knife, because you never see him hold it with this outfit on. It's just tucked into the knife holder on the side of the leg here, which you can see is, you know, strapped on there. Really well done. But also the fact that you're never going to see it. So die-cast weapons, you know, make the figure cost more money, I would assume. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I would assume having metal weapons maybe jacks up the price a little bit. I don't know. But yes, the actual reason that this is not die-cast metal is because safety. They did tell me that 3 separate times they, you know, attempted die-cast weaponry, but were told by, and this is where I get a little bit lost because I'm not familiar with how this stuff works in Hong Kong or wherever, but legally they couldn't give you a real metal hunting knife because they're just bloody deadly. This is a custom one that I have. It's a custom metal sharp hunting knife. It's actually for a Rob Zombie Halloween 2 custom figure in 1/6 scale that I have, but I've cut myself with this about 3 times. So it's very dangerous, and they're well aware that a lot of the people who are going to be buying this particular figure are fathers, you know, with kids now. So it's just to have something like this. I mean, you can see how sharp it looks, and it's plastic. Imagine if that was real die-cast metal and you've got this on your shelf and your son runs up who's 4 or 5 years old. And, you know, I mean, even this, honestly, that is sharp and it's plastic. The tip of the knife is quite sharp as I'm poking it. But, you know, that's the reason, safety. And I know you're thinking, well, why do other companies give you real metal knives and swords? I don't know. I don't work for them, but I know that Asmus have done quite a few Lord of the Rings figures, and they probably come with a few die-cast swords. And 3-0 did the Michael Myers Part 6, Curse of Michael Myers, and that came with 2 metal knives, but they're very blunt and not sharp at all. So I guess you could say, well, why don't you make this die-cast and just have it not be sharp? But then it just doesn't look right because it's his hunting knife. It has to look sharp. That's one of the things about Rambo's knife. It's absolutely razor sharp. You see him cut the paper with it in the film. So that's the reason, safety. But my reasoning in my head, like I said when I reviewed it, was, well, he's never going to be holding it in my collection because he never held it in his hand in this look. And it's going to be hidden underneath the jacket in the holder here. So at least it's here. And it does have the compass, which you can unscrew, which is really cool. Don't know if that's going to focus for me. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, really, really well done. It is missing that little bit of string I noticed. I think it's a bit of string that kind of goes around here and kind of dangles. But yeah, fair enough on the knife, because it would be very sharp and it would be dangerous. So, focus. There we go. So let's see. Yes, they are going to go back and revise the paint with the eyes. But that's just the, you know, in certain pictures people were saying that they look too pink around the eyes, like I showed you. And I'll put some pictures up on the screen during the video, I'm sure. I really don't think it needs adjusting because, like I said, he's supposed to be going through a lot of pain mentally, serious levels of, you know, sleep deprivation and all of that stuff. You got to bear that in mind, folks. They're really going for realism. I think they did a great job. So that is pretty much it. I just want to tell you wholeheartedly, honestly, please don't be swayed. And I mean that. This is a really beautiful piece. don't listen to, or don't pay attention to all the emojis of laughing heads, little yellow laughing heads with tears coming out of their eyes because they're laughing so hard. It's just really quite disrespectful. It's freedom of speech. Do what you want. You can't do anything about it, but just don't be put off by that. Honestly, from the heart, this is a beautiful piece, and it's from an amazing film. I've watched it twice in the last week because I had the figure, and I watched it again before I reviewed it, and I watched it again since I reviewed it. I really paid attention to that beginning, opening scene in the film, and honestly, this is fantastic. I mean, it's going to look different in different lighting. You saw how it looked outdoors in the forest when I took him out and filmed that video on the channel. He looked amazing, absolutely incredible. Hope you've been able to bear with me during this video. I don't make videos like this very often. It's quite a lot of pressure on me because I'm the only one. It's like Justin has this, like I said, but his review's not out yet. It's only me representing this piece, and everyone's looking at me and my work, thinking, either oh that looks great or oh no, it's a lot of pressure. I'm very lucky to be the one that got to review this, and I am so grateful for that, especially seeing as it's Stallone because I'm an 80s kid and he's a hero of mine. Literally, the day that I received this, the day that I filmed the review, I was in the kitchen making my dinner while I was getting ready to edit the review, and Rocky Balboa was on TV, the one from 2006, I think. But when he comes back, he's getting older and he just needs to get that stuff out of the tank, and he has that one last fight. And I swear to God, man, every time his films have that ability to, I've got no shame in saying, they make me tear up. Like that end bit, even though he doesn't win that fight, he's walking back to the backstage before they've even announced who won. And when he's just, he's such a good dude. He doesn't even want to turn around and sort of get the glory and put his arms up to the crowd. And he does though, because they kind of make him do it. It's just beautiful, man. It just gets me every time. And it's not the only Stallone film that's made me cry a little bit. Um, so it hurt me a little bit with all the negativity that I saw on Facebook. But I understand freedom of speech and you're entitled to your opinion. But I have to, sometimes you have to stand up and fight back and say, you're actually wrong about that because it is a beautiful piece. I know my lighting, it is what it is. I got one lamp over here pointing behind him. I got another lamp in front of him pointing at him, and then the lights on the ceiling are giving it that kind of warm glow. But certain figures are better for that than others. I'm doing my best, and honestly, it's a beautiful piece. So, but thank you for watching, guys. I will see you real soon on the channel. Take it easy. Bye bye.